Hey guys, Karai is my video, and I hope you genuinely didn't think that I was gonna miss out on the only tradition that I actually do, which is doing my top 10 moments of everywhere. I mean, I could have justified it by saying there was absolutely no cricket this year, and I could have just walked out, and that would have been a perfectly fine excuse. But it's something I've been doing for 5 years now, maybe I think 5 or 6 years. This might be my 6th year or my 5th year, depends, whatever. So, but because of the lack of cricket, I'm not gonna be doing 10. Obviously, 10 is a little bit too much, but 5 rather. And look, I think the fact that cricket really came back, I think we got to be really grateful for that. I mean, live sport rather. I mean, because I do cricket, I'm going to be focusing on cricket, but you could easily substitute live sport in there. The fact that I think at the height of the pandemic, it was March, April, May, I think we were all concerned with the fact, okay, we're not going to see live sport for quite some time now. And despite that, we have seen it, and I think everyone's grateful for the behind the scenes workers, the people, the administrators, the players. You know, it's not easy when you sit at home and you do what you do, work from home. Cricket cannot do work from home. And for them to put past their family, in certain cases, bring their family, put them into danger, which isn't the easiest decision to take. For them to do it, you gotta give them your utmost gratitude for making us, to make our lives a little less miserable, to say the least. Anyway, I don't want, but anyway, these by the way this video started, you could probably figure out that the 5 moments aren't gonna be too cricket related. Yes, it's gonna be cricket because I do cricket, but it won't be extremely cricket related. It'll be a lot more off the field stuff. So number 5 will be the IPL. Look, it was one of the toughly, can you say toughly? One of the most evenly contested IPLs. Yes, CSK finished last. That doesn't mean it wasn't a successful campaign for CSK. I mean, it was definitely not a successful campaign for CSK, but we can ignore them. But apart from that, and Mumbai ran away with the game, with the title. Look, it was blatantly obvious at some point that there was no team who were going to beat Mumbai. You know, Delhi fans will lie to themselves and say, "Oh, we stood a chance." They'll know that they're lying to themselves. They won't agree with it, but they'll still want to do it. But look, Mumbai ran away with it. But apart from that, the remaining teams, it was just like Mumbai was there, as you can check out in my predictions with reactions with how we talk about each team. I think Kolkata missed out by point, not 4-2. They finished on 12 points, and that was the net run rate that they missed out on. So it tells you it was a very evenly contested IPL. And on top of it, the fact that apart from the initial scare from the Chennai Super Kings camp, and the process just went extremely smoothly. And you gotta back the people. You gotta thank the people who did it. All the behind the room people. Look, I know it's a very generic term to use because I don't know in depth, but I don't want to be giving credit to the wrong people and taking credit away from the right people. But you know, the behind the people who make sure and working the bubbles across 3 different entities of the United Arab Emirates. You know, it's not like you're doing it within India, you're doing it within 3 different countries, so to speak. So that was one of the highlights. Point number 4 is I think one of the few cricketing things I have in there. We'll see as we go along. I'm not too sure, but anyway, 4th one is the Adelaide debacle, 36 all out. Very recent though, but I mean, if you get game time at this stage, then yes, it's gonna be recent. But I typically do one. So there's a 36 all out to then beating Australia. That's one of the fastest turnarounds that you'll ever see, and it's not easy, right? You don't have Ishant, you don't have Shami, you don't have Kohli. I'm not going to say Rohit because Rohit's not a test force yet. So these 3 guys not there. They're a bowler shot without Umesh Yadav. So Siraj now is the senior bowler. Bumrah is a senior bowler and he's got 16 tests experience. Siraj is the 2nd senior most fast bowler. Both these guys are fast bowlers. Ashwin's obviously the leader of the pack. Then comes Jadeja. But yeah, you get the point. So, and then for them to restrict Australia, and now Australians or people who used to say they didn't have Warner, they didn't have Smith, they can't use it anymore. Yes, there is no Warner, but that doesn't. Instead of Warner, I think Manas is a pretty good replacement for Warner. In the short time we've seen, this guy can go on to score a large period of runs. Yes, he's not gonna start. He's not quick off the blocks like Warner, but as he goes along, his strike rate matches to that of Warner. So Warner and Smith now. Smith's not scored, so I don't think the people who lost can go around saying, "Oh, they didn't have Warner." So it doesn't work like that. And that turnaround was something really special as an Indian fan to really watch, and it's great for the cricket. Great for the cricket community as well. Something that came real close to being 4th was New Zealand Pakistan. I think if it wasn't for the fact that New Zealand are a very good force at home, and if Pakistan managed to secure the draw, rather, let me phrase it that way, then I think they would have gotten. But you gotta first salute Neil Wagner's effort to play with 2 fractured toes. Was it? I can't play if my hand starts to swell after being hit by a ball. I go home. This guy just stays there and says, "You gotta carry me off on a stretcher." That's great courage, and it shows the camaraderie of the team really. So that's number 4. or 4.1 if you like 4 or 4, whatever. 4.1 or 4.1, 4.2, they're both equal. Not giving them magnitude. I don't know why I'm taking maths now. Anyway, point number 3. I think it's England. It's just England's administration, really. When there was no such thing. They didn't know what to back themselves on. To build a bubble to take off West Indies and Pakistan. Now, Pakistan was severely hit by the pandemic as well. And to take them and not have a single case over there. And when you have nothing to base yourself on and still build the perfect bubble without a scare, and for the women's too, you got it's a really commendable achievement. At the same time, you've got to talk about the graciousness of the West Indies people. West Indies wasn't hit too badly. Everyone was hit, relative terms. Next to the US, they weren't hit. And then for guys like Jason Holder and all the people who showed up on the tour to come out and say, look, we are ready to do it, we're going to honor our commitment, let's go play. And for them to put past, they're going to say they're going to be there for 2 months to go out there, play a test series just because England need revenue. I think it speaks a lot, and it speaks a lot about Jason Holder's leadership and Joe Root as well. But we'll focus on Jason Holder. A lot of things he did off the pitch. It's wonderful talking about Black Lives Matter and all these and bringing his team forward. I think there was something he was saying that about how Holder was the one who actually convinced the players that it was okay to come. He made it sure with the WICB that if the players were dropped, if the players pulled out of the tour, it wasn't to be counted against them because they were worried about their own safety, which he appreciated. So I think Jason Holder is equal to England in terms of what I rank in points. But anyway, I think cricketing point of view, they managed to win 1. I think Stokes just got I won't say unlucky, he was just completely outplayed. I think they picked a completely wrong bowling team with playing Wood and Archer. And Broad just came back and said, I'm the boss, you're not dropping me anytime soon. So right, it was the point number 2, we're going to be entering into the cricket team thing, I guess. Second one is the Under 19 World Cup. Now there are a couple of things I want to highlight in this. The first one is the fact that they brought in, there were 2 new countries that hadn't previously, or at least from what I know, they haven't had exposure to cricket. One was Nigeria, the other was Japan. And the very interesting thing about Japan was the fact that the Japanese government, I think they've said, we don't want to have any foreigners playing in our team. So that is basically for example in the US, obviously it could be US citizen to play, but they didn't want too many Indian background people, or any other race. They said it had to be purely Japanese. I think there were a couple of guys, there was a guy called Neil or something, but he was even though his parents were based out of Mumbai or something, he was predominantly Japanese, so those kind of things were allowed. But so bringing it to Japan, and I don't know what Nigeria also, I'm pretty sure it's all the Nigerian people. And then finally the final, where it was going very smoothly for India, and then there was a huge collapse. Then it was going smoothly for Bangladesh, and there was a huge collapse, and then Bangladesh finally went on to win their main title. Another thing that I wanted to see there was the fact that the last thing really blew out of proportion. The last final stages, the kids, rather, in terms of, I could call them kids, blown out of proportion, started swearing all over the players, picked up in stump mic and anything. Rule number 1, you're gonna swear. Make sure you're not swearing anywhere near the stumps or the umpire. That's basic rule of cricket. Point number 2 being, apparently Dravid wasn't there, and I didn't know it at that point in time. I found it very surprising that Dravid was gonna let things like this happen, but apparently Dravid wasn't there. So it tells you that how much Dravid is playing a role into taking these kids, and he's saying that personality is very important for me. I don't care if you're good at cricket, personality is what's important. He's making sure it's only the people right personality who's playing. So in the absence of Dravid, you can see that these guys, I think it's built up of emotions over 2 years, and they started swearing at him. Thing that you rarely see is that India don't swear, Bangladesh starts swear. Here it was complete opposite, and the captain Akbar Ali, he was very calm throughout, and so it was a very interesting match to watch actually. I think how Ravi Bishnoi changed things, and then I think for at least if he swore, there was some kind of justification there, because he was the guy who brought it back, and then for catches to go down off his bowling, you can understand, but don't swear at the other player, man. Maintain decorum. You guys are playing cricket. Yes, you're 19, but you still got to handle yourself when you're representing for the country. And then point number 1, so the biggest moment of the year was the Australia-India Women's World T20 Final. 87,239 people. There's a Netflix documentary if you want to check it out. It's really good. Talks about how Thailand, again another team that has no connection with cricket came out, and I think they would have won against Pakistan had it not been for rain. But still, a lot of people showed up. I think it was an immense step in women's cricket, and unfortunately, it couldn't push on from there. It was a very good launchpad to push itself off, and I think people should remember the fact that it was only this year that people were willing to come in and watch women's cricket. It's not something that we see a lot often, and I think it's changing perspectives here in India, which is generally a patriarchal society. It's changing heads now. People are saying that okay, girls can play cricket too and all that stuff. Brilliant for women's cricket all around. Just sad that it couldn't really kick off from there because of things that weren't under our control. But anyway, it was a huge moment. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. 5 moments this time around. Maybe 5.1, 5.2, maybe a couple more, maybe 7. But who wants to say top 7 moments? It's gonna be a round number. 5, 10, 15, multiples of 5 basically. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. See ya.